Am I the a-hole for shouting at my boyfriend for telling his friends and family I murdered his firstborn? Not long, because the title says it all. I fell pregnant earlier this year by my boyfriend, and since we're both 23 and not stable enough, I told him I was planning to abort. He said he didn't support that decision, but it wasn't his choice, so he'll just go with it. I had the procedure and we continued dating, but now I've heard from a mutual friend that he tells them and his family that I murdered his firstborn or some BS like that. I shouted at him about it and admittedly did post some stuff for him on FB without his name. He apologized and said he won't do it again, but now his sister is attacking me for being an a-hole to him. Am I the a-hole? You're not the a-hole, but you mean ex-boyfriend, right? He had no right talking about you like this to his family or anyone else. If he was hurt by your decision, he should have discussed it with you, and without a name calling. You're not the a-hole. It isn't his firstborn because there was no birth. Your body, your choice. If abortion bothers him so much, he needs to discuss that with his sexual partner before having sex with them. Have a conversation and have a clear understanding of what happens if you get pregnant. Otherwise it's unwise to have sex even with protection. You're not the a-hole. Run OP, run for your life and mental well-being. If ever I've seen an appropriate "you're not the a-hole," this is it. If ever I've seen the advice "run for your life" properly applied to one of these threads, this is it. Info: have you broken up yet? Because you really should. I don't see this relationship progressing past this. You're not the a-hole, and holy duck, get out of that toxic relationship already. ESH, I agree that abortion is ultimately your decision because body autonomy comes first in my books. Your boyfriend was very rude by calling you out with his family. I imagine he's hurt, but that's not an excuse. When you vag a book, you are an a-hole to everyone on your friends list. No one thinks highly of the person who verbally vomits on Facebook. You're not the a-hole. I would never say that about my GF. It's such a ducked up thing to say. It's not like it doesn't ever affect you, it affects you more than it does him. The kid was in your body and he honestly just shouldn't say it like that. ESH. If he feels that strongly about your decision to abort, why stick around? Either accept it or don't. You complain that he told his family about your decision to abort the child you both created, but also rushed to social media to vent about what upsets you. If anything, your behavior is worse because it's online and therefore every rando to see now. MTE. It's deeply ironic that she's upset at him for sharing his feelings with family and turns around and tells all of Facebook. ESH. Or some BS like that. Info: it's your choice, but he has a right to be upset about it, and without knowing what he actually said, it's impossible to add a fair judgment. Well, we know it included the word murderer to their mutual friends and his family. It's like if you were dating someone who had a real beef with you and used the word rapist to describe you to mutual friends and family. Would you just chalk it up to them being rightfully upset? What I think a lot of pro-choice people don't understand or refuse to believe about pro-lifers is that they genuinely believe that abortion is murder. The boyfriend here appears to be pro-life, but was realistic about the situation. He didn't like it, wouldn't support it, but recognized that ultimately he had no power over the situation and therefore didn't fight it beyond expressing his opposition. From his perspective, OP did murder his firstborn. Why he chose to remain in the relationship is beyond the scope of this post, but I do not believe the boyfriend is an a-hole for any actions described here. Can anyone here truthfully say they've never vented to their friends or family? OP, on the other hand, is clearly dismissive, if not contemptuous, of her boyfriend's feelings and lashed out against him on a public forum. I find it implausible that leaving out his name did anything to hide the target of her post. This will be an unpopular opinion here, but to me OP is clearly the a-hole here. You're the a-hole. ESH. He is the a-hole for telling his family that you murdered his firstborn and spreading this private information around your friend group, and you're the a-hole for posting about this on Facebook. Exactly this. Don't imagine not including his name would have hidden the fact it was about him. You're the a-hole. He told you his feelings and how he viewed things while also acknowledging that he couldn't control what you did. You dismiss them as some BS. And now you're angry that he went to his family for the emotional support you very clearly could not or would not give him in his feelings of loss of your child together and regret. I think you two should break up. TBH. I'm not sure it's wise to date someone with views that are so drastically opposed to your own on something as important as the issue of abortion. I'm pro-life and would never date a pro-choice person for exactly the reasons you've laid out in your post above. If this situation ever came up, obviously this is completely hypothetical for me since I'm female, I'd feel exactly like your boyfriend does, and I would need the emotional support of my family. Meaning yes, I would definitely tell them about it, and would view it as the intentional killing of our child, and would possibly need grief counseling to cope with the loss. I wouldn't be denied the emotional support I needed, even by my partner, and I would hope my partner wouldn't attempt to deny me that, either. If you truly want to give your boyfriend, or ex-boyfriend, however this plays out, a resource that might help him, tell him to contact Silent No More. They help people who feel the way he does about abortions they have had or that people close to them have had that affected them deeply. He is obviously experiencing regret over his lost fatherhood and child and probably needs help coping with that. I wish you both the best. May you both find happier times in your futures. ESH, this is very political, and I think a lot of people are basing their judgment on the abortion issue, but that's not what's at issue. Your boyfriend is an a-hole for talking negatively about you behind your back, especially after seeming to begrudgingly go along with your decision. You're also the a-hole for shouting and essentially also talking about him behind his back by posting whatever you posted. I'm sure it wasn't flattering. This thread is absurd. A bunch of comments from women who think a man has no right to get upset when a woman aborts his child, and no right to tell anyone about it. Telling people about it is different than saying she murdered someone. JFC. My mum did this. I was 18. It wasn't a good time. My mum told her friends that I killed her grandchild. Not just behind my back though. In front of me. Your body, your choice. Absolutely you're not the a-hole, but I hope you guys aren't together anymore because he has shown you no respect at all.